Indians spent 72,000 crore rupees last year on toll charges. And therefore, on the 15th of August 2025, the Government of India launched the FASTag Annual Pass. At a price of 3,000 rupees per annum, you could get 200 one-way trips on highways, and this created a lot of buzz because some long-distance road travelers posted online that they were now going to save upwards of 10,000 rupees a year as a result of this annual pass. It shouldn't surprise you that 5 lakh annual passes were sold in 4 days from the launch. My family spent 3,000 rupees last month on toll charges just on the Mumbai-Worli sea link. So I also went ahead and purchased the annual pass, only to realize that it is of no use to me because, like everything in life, terms and conditions apply, and this is something I did not know when I was buying the annual pass because I did not read the terms and conditions. And therefore, we thought it would be beneficial to do a breakdown on highways, tolls and FASTag to help you understand whether the FASTag Annual Pass will save you money on tolls or will it not. The Breakdown YouTube channel is part of 01 by Zerodha. We're extremely grateful for the support that 01 and Zerodha provide us. So let's begin by answering the question, how does the Government of India finance road construction? And before we answer this, I want you to think about how you or your friend has gone about financing the construction of their dream home. Think about what happens when your friend goes to purchase their dream home. They find the perfect land parcel. They then engage a contractor to find the architect and various subcontractors to give you an approximate quote for how much it would cost to build the house. You take the NOC for the construction of the house to a bank to get a loan sanctioned. Now, while the house construction is going on, you start paying EMIs, and in the future, if the house is constructed and you decide to give it on rent, you have some rental income that lets you pay the EMI over a period of typically 15, 20 or about 30 years. Everything that I've said so far, if you were to go and replace yourself or your friend with the government and replace house with road, bridge, port or dam, is exactly how physical infrastructure is constructed. There is a lot of debt involved, a lot of planning involved, long-term payouts back to the financiers, and therefore, how does the government finance road construction in India? The primary source of funds comes from the Central Road and Infrastructure Fund. What typically happens is when you pay at the petrol pump, the petrol pump operator pays a certain amount of cess and taxes to the OMC, which in turn goes and deposits this money with the Government of India. This is the large source of funding. 8 years ago, the collections from CRIF were about 70,000 crore rupees. Today, it is 1.3 lakh crore rupees, which means the collections are growing at 9% per annum. And this contributes to about 35 to 40% of the budget for the National Highway Authority of India to construct these highways and roads. The next source of funding comes from investors. There is an investment vehicle called an InvIT. You can think of an InvIT as a company whose entire purpose is to own and manage physical infrastructure assets and pay the shareholders a dividend from the profits that are generated from owning and operating the infrastructure asset. If you think of an InvIT that operates a road, the primary source of revenue is the toll collections. InvITs also provide a very smart financial method. Now, a very good example of an InvIT is the National Highway Infrastructure Trust. Now, the NHIT has raised 26,000 crore rupees and it has about 1900 kilometers of national highway toll roads. It is a listed asset and it pays a dividend of approximately 6.5%. But the most important source of funding for construction is PPP, public-private partnerships. There are 4 ways whereby public-private partnership today happens in India. Build, operate, transfer, toll model, build, operate, transfer, annuity model, toll, operate, transfer, and the hybrid annuity model. So let's begin with the first model, which is the build, operate, transfer toll model. Now the BOT toll model has been the backbone of how the government of India has partnered with private developers since the 2000s. So this is a case where a private contractor bids, wins the contract, constructs the road, collects the toll from the road for the concession period, and at the end of the concession period, returns the road back to the government's ownership. You can simply think of the BOT model as a case where the risk of toll collection is handed over from the government to a private contractor. And until 2012, 96% of India's road construction projects were built through this build, operate, transfer toll model. So while the BOT toll model puts the toll collection risk onto the private contractor, the BOT annuity model puts the risk of usage and toll collection onto the government. In the build, operate, transfer annuity model, a private contractor bids, wins a bid, constructs the project, but does not collect the toll. And instead, the private contractor who builds, operates, and maintains this physical infrastructure asset is paid a semi-annual annuity, which is a fixed payment that is pre-agreed. This now takes us to the third model, toll, operate, transfer, TOT. So in the toll, operate, transfer model, the National Highway Authority of India incurs its own capital expenditure and engages a private contractor to build the road. And once this roadway is constructed and it starts to generate revenue, they lease it to a private operator to maintain, operate, and to collect the toll. And this was actually a very important milestone for the National Highway Authority of India, because the toll, operate, transfer model ensures that some of the older projects can be further handed over to the private sector to continue to operate for the rest of its private useful life. And this is something called the National Asset Monetization Policy, beginning with the National Highway Authority of India. Around the same time that the government launched the TOT model, they also launched something called the hybrid annuity model or HAM model. In the HAM model, 40% of the project cost is fronted by the National Highway Authority of India, and the remaining 60% of the project cost is incurred by a private contractor who's also responsible for building the project. In the HAM model, the National Highway Authority of India itself is collecting the toll, whereas it makes a fixed semi-annual annuity payment to the private contractor who has built this road. Hence, it is a hybrid model because there is toll collection by the government, but there is an annuity payment from the government to the private contractor. At this point, you're going to pause and say, Rahul, why on earth have you spent the last 5 minutes explaining how the government of India finances road construction? And the answer is, I wanted you to pay attention to who collects the toll in each model. And remember what I had told you, the key term and condition for the FASTag Annual Pass to work is that the toll must be collected by the National Highway Authority of India. And therefore, only those projects that are either owned and operated by the National Highway Authority of India end to end, or those projects that are being operated under the hybrid annuity model by the National Highway Authority of India are included for the discounted fare under the FASTag Annual Pass. And now we come to how does this FASTag Annual Pass actually work? Now the FASTag Annual Pass only works for private four-wheeler vehicles, and you have to pay a one-time fee of 3,000 rupees. Now this FASTag Annual Pass would allow you to access 2,000 trips. 2,000 trips means an entry at a toll naka and an exit at a toll naka in one direction. So why is it that the FASTag Annual Pass doesn't work at all toll junctions? First of all, the toll junction has to be operated by the National Highway Authority of India. And for context, the Mumbai-Worli Sea Link, which is where my family spends about 3,000 rupees per month, is owned and operated by the Maharashtra State Road Development Corporation, MSRDC. And this toll junction doesn't come under the purview of the FASTag Annual Pass. In fact, there are a lot of such roadways like the Bandra-Worli Sea Link that have their own monthly pass. For example, this sea link in Mumbai has a 5,000 rupee monthly monthly pass that gives you unlimited trips. It doesn't make sense financially for me, but if you travel a few times every day up and down, it could be worth it for you. Let's look at a few more examples of roadways that are not included. The Mumbai-Pune Expressway is also owned by MSRDC, but what are some examples of roadways that fall under the purview? The Ahmedabad-Vadodara Expressway, the Mumbai-Nashik Expressway, and the entire NH44, which is our north-south corridor. And therefore the question is, who stands to benefit the most from this FASTag Annual Pass? It is people who take road trips for leisure across India, and it is people who do interstate commutes on a regular basis. If you're a person who drives Mumbai-Goa quite frequently, you would also stand to save a significant amount of money. There are a few users on Reddit who even have shared the calculations for how they are going to save upwards of 10,000 rupees per annum as a result of the annual pass due to their frequent traveling commutes. And finally, let's answer the question, how will this change your life? And I actually believe that this annual pass will encourage a lot of the state road development corporations to also launch a similar pass. It would be a huge benefit to urban commuters like you or I, and I actually think that the National Highway Authority of India and the Government of India will, over the next few years, will also encourage regional and state governments to launch their own version of an annual pass, which can be purchased for cost savings. Now, a question that a lot of holders of InvITs, especially the National Highway Investment Trust, had is that will the annual pass have a negative impact on the earnings and therefore on the dividend that I am paid as a shareholder? And this is what I was able to gather from a bunch of sources. We know that the FASTag Annual Pass only works for private four-wheeler vehicles, and this accounts for about 40% of traffic but 25% of revenue. Approximately 33% of private four-wheeler cars will opt to purchase this annual pass. When you work the calculations that the FASTag Annual Pass is about 80% cheaper, the revenue impact will be somewhere from 4 to 8% of total toll collections. And the Government of India has already come out to say that they will work to figure out how to compensate for this loss in revenue. And finally, road construction is never going to stop. The momentum has only accelerated. And I actually remember in April 2017, I almost missed an international flight because of the amount of traffic that Mumbai roads had then. Today, it is possible for me to get from the airport to my house in less than an hour because there is a BKC flyover, the Bandra-Worli Sea Link, the Worli Haji Ali Coastal Road, and then the Coastal Road Tunnel that takes me to about 500 meters from my house. The pace of construction in India today, which is in the thousands of kilometers of new roadways per annum, is truly mind-boggling. However, these roads are expensive, and expensive roads require tolls to be able to pay for the private construction cost. And my hope is that we will see not just this annual pass, but several other annual passes launched over the next few years to reduce the burden on you and I. And that's all from us today at Breakdown. Thank you so much. See you next time.